Did you listen to Jeff and Professor Hamo in the morning?
It's at a friend's house. If I come and visit you and you're telling me your child can't come, my child can't come, I would tell you it's been real. Tukutane lunch mahali during the week where both of us can hang out. But if it's a weekend, it's my child's time, I'm just not gonna be able to come. So you draw a line and you want to include your child. And what that did was it helped my friends as well. So it helped my friends then step up and say, what is this that she's saying? Why is it that she's insisting this stuff? So they then became the people who would tell me, oh, have you seen this article? Or have you heard this? And my parents were really very supportive because they just basically made it very clear. If he's not in the house, if we're having a function, he's got to be there, regardless of the behavior, because we're working through it. And the result has been a child who knows that he is loved, knows that he can go anywhere, and has relationships with other people besides me. Because when you have a child with disability and the diagnosis tells you he can never develop relationships, can never socially interact, but when your friends come in, when your family comes in, he knows who they are, he knows how to interact with them, can sit with them. That is a huge payoff. It's awesome.
Would you say that is the exception though, Jacqueline? Because we've heard stories where these children are locked up in a room. They are chained to a bed because the parents, it's the embarrassment, it's that stigma.
There's the embarrassment bit, but there's also the aggression and violence that comes when the child cannot communicate well. So when imagine not being able to say the thing that's in your head. So please note, these kids, there's nothing wrong with their brain. It's working just as well as yours, but it processes information much faster. So if an autistic child is in a place like this studio, they'll be hearing the AC speaking, they'll be hearing both of us, they'll be hearing everything else that's going on. Could probably, if it wasn't soundproof, hear what's going on in the next room. So you've got like all this stuff and the lights and everything going on in your head, and you're not being able to isolate one person's voice. So what happens? You melt down.
Yes, chaos,
and if I'm trying to, if I don't have words to tell you that what I want is a cup of water, and I'm not getting water, and the mom is guessing. So the child wants water, but the mom brings food, brings a change of clothes, so basically you're not understanding me. So the result is
you're not communicating.
You're not. So the result ends up being a child that is aggressive. And then so what the parent is looking for and what somebody else would be looking for, whether it's a teacher or anything, is you're looking at the aggression and you're not asking yourself what is the cause of it. So if you look just a bit before that and ask what's the because there are ABCs, antecedent, the behavior itself, and the consequence of the behavior. So if you look at the A itself, like what caused the behavior, you then begin to understand what it is that your child might want. And it doesn't come easy. It comes with putting in the work, it comes with years of work, and this is not something that any parent anywhere could not do. You just, if you had the knowledge, and that's where the gap is, that we have all these parents in this country. Globally, they're telling us that 1 in 48 kids has autism. 1 in 48.
On the
we
planet.
should be
out of 7 billion people.
We should be in a panic. We should be asking if 1 in 48, and somebody recently told me, and I don't know whether these statistics are accurate, that every 1 in 28 kids that Kenyatta National Hospital is seeing has a diagnosis of, so whether, so that means that the kids are there. The thing though is, after you've gotten your diagnosis, what then? So we don't have the structures in the country that support the what then. You've told me that my child has an issue, but you've not shown me what to do with this child and how to help them transition into a useful human being when they are an adult.
Okay, so you decided to reach out to other parents with kids with autism.
Yes.
How did that go?
So parents are hungry for knowledge. If I'm the one who's been able to access a therapy, say for example I access occupational therapy, and there's another mom who cannot afford it, then I can say, oh, you know what the therapist said? He said we should do 1, 2, 3. Then the other mom gets to practice what it is. And the truth of the matter is, even when I'm working, it's not that I can afford these services. So I've depended a lot on what it is that other people are being told by their therapists to do with their child. And then you sort of like tailor it. And this has grown like a body of parents who on social media talk daily to each other, on WhatsApp groups talk daily to each other. We exchange information on which schools are good, what school to avoid. Because when my son was 6, 7, I had to take him out of a special school because they were beating him to tame his meltdowns.
Good.
So that happens a lot. So you need information like that. Like if there's a school where they're beating the child instead of addressing the behavior that's causing the meltdown or the aggression, then we share that information as parents. Don't take your child to school X because they beat the child.
But there are also good schools.
There are also good schools
Who have people who take care of these kids.
Yes, and who know what they're doing, because so we have a lot of private schools that sort of sprout up, Kenyans and side hustles.
Yes.
So if you hear there's a problem, you want to solve it.
Yes.
So
You start your own Montessori.
Yes. So there are all those,
Yes.
and some of them unfortunately don't have like the teachers who can do the job, or the teachers, but they've got the heart to say, bring your child. A good solution for many of us would be public schools. So why is it that there's free primary education, for example, and that we have a policy, government has a policy on inclusiveness, but the facilities in the schools don't exist? So when you tell a parent in, say, Kibera or somewhere in Kawangware or some rural area, take your child to the nearest primary school, what you've really done is place a burden on that headmaster to figure out what to do with this child, because they probably don't have a special class. And if you put this child within a classroom, which my son has done, where I've taken him to school out of desperation and thought all he needs to do is be in school so that I can go and work. So when you then learn that it's just a babysitting service, like child goes and is most popular in the school because every child knows them, but not because they're doing anything, but it's because wanazurura class to class. So there's nothing going on. So every child in the school knows their name because they are like, he came to my class today, he wandered off. So at the end of the day, your child comes home. So he spent the day in school, you spend the day at work, you're at home. So what we need in this nation is actually like just purposefully identifying, even within an area, schools that you can say, these ones will take care of autistic learners, these ones will take care of deaf learners.
And you're telling me we don't have that? We
don't have that. We have, there are few people, in very few constituencies where they're trying to do that. But what these public schools lack is the infrastructure. So you have headmasters and headmistresses who are willing. So they are willing to accommodate special needs kids because after all the policy says that. But they will not put your special needs child in a class A class because you're going to bring the marks down. This child is never going to score. So this child needs to be in a classroom where if they're good in math, they leave their special homeroom. It's like the American system where you have a homeroom and then you go for science and math and more. So you treat the special needs classroom like a homeroom, and then the child goes to a math class because they're good in math but cannot communicate well, so they go back to their homeroom and learn and do therapy in that space. But if they're, and then do sports with the other kids, do break times with the other kids, because we need everybody in society to integrate. You cannot have special needs kids locked up or in a special space. When special needs kids become teenagers and become special needs adults. So we're going to have a society where, because you've not come across anybody with a disability, if your neighbor has a disability, you're probably not going to understand. Why does your neighbor bang a wall in the middle of the night? Why does your neighbor make certain noises? Why does he not look you straight in the face when you talk? So we need these kids in schools with our other kids so that we can then so that they can grow up together. Remember, they're siblings to somebody. So when you're saying that you have two kids, but one can go to school and the other one cannot, what you're really teaching your children from an early start is to discriminate.
Is that why you didn't have any other children?
I actually don't have any other children because I'm single.
Thank you, God.
Okay. Have you ever been worried that if you have another one, it might be like King Arthur? Has that ever crossed your mind?
That used to worry me when I used to worry me earlier. But I keep on thinking, if I had another child now, I'm not green. It's not, because I do know parents who have 2-3 kids in the family with autism.
Right.
But it doesn't worry me as much as it used to, because I'm like, okay, so now I know what to do. Because the problem would be if you don't know what to do. Early intervention is always key. So had I known, say for example, at 2 years and I had the money for it, would have done occupational therapy, speech therapy, ABA would have done everything to make sure that by the time they are 5 years old, you couldn't tell that they are having a difficulty.
Okay, so what about the woman now in Kibra, in Huruma, in Majengo, you know, in the inner city,
Okay.
who have this situation and they don't know what to do, Jacqueline? They are at a loss. This human being
Yes.
is not behaving like a human being. What do I do?
So one of the best things, one of the easiest things usually for parents to do is to begin from a diet perspective. So diet doesn't work for everybody because every population has kids with allergies or people with allergies or not. So for autism, not every single child will ever need diet. However, if you start from a diet perspective, you begin to help them manage their aggression. So casein in milk and gluten in wheat can cause the difference, because you're not being able, kids with autism have something called leaky gut, so they're not able to process sugars properly. So you give the child a bicky, and where any other child would have been able to eat that biscuit and go on their way, this child's sugars spike. What happens when somebody's on a sugar high on any day? They're like,
Yes.
So one of the simple things for people to do, even on a home level, is eliminate sugar completely. Just don't have sugar in your house. And then try the diet thing. Try eliminating wheat for a while and seeing whether your child's behavior improves. And the thing to do is remove wheat for a period of time, put back wheat, observe the behavior. This is something mothers can do at home. Remove milk completely, put back milk. What do you observe? So you have to give it a time, like say you'll do 1 week, 2 weeks without milk, see whether the child's behavior improves, put back milk. If the behavior then deteriorates, then you're like, okay, so this thing causes my child to, because what you're trying to do is, as much as possible, help your child compose themselves enough to regulate their own behavior.
So it's trial and error.
A lot of it, because we don't have access to what it is people in the West have. A lot of it has been trial and error and is trial and error.
Okay, if people want to get in touch with you, because obviously this is deep, man.
Yeah.
This
Because
is deep,
if
very
you have
important.
a child 2 years, what are the signs?
Hajaongea.
Hajaongea.
So is it delayed speech inakwambia kuna kitu?
So that it could be delayed speech, but it could also be autism. So you don't know at that age.
Don't know.
So, but to deal with delayed speech, you need to be able to access therapy. In the absence of therapy, you need to be able to do play therapy with your child at home, which is actively play. So usimpatie gadget, kaa kwa corner and do your thing. Exactly. So actively play with your child, because kids learn from doing. So if you're telling a child, like say for example, clap, if your child isn't able to imitate, because in order to speak, you need some of this copy, you need to imitate, you need to be able to say that's a word and repeat it. So parents need to remove everything else and concentrate on that child and say, I don't have access to therapy, but I can play with my child. And I can tell my child, repeat a simple word, even if it's a 2-letter word, a 3-letter word. And But
kids love gadgets these days,
They
this.
do.
From the phone to PlayStation, and they're very good.
They are.
And autistic kids are even sharper
They are.
than normal ones, because, they see things we don't see.
Yeah.
So if they take too much to the TV, to the phone, to the gadgets?
So I think you have to be able to balance. The theme for this year's autism awareness is actually assistive technologies, active participation. And the reason why it's that is because assistive devices actually help people with disabilities, and particularly they will help people with autism. A good reason would be, one of the communication methods we started with my son was using picture exchange. And picture exchange communication basically means I show him a picture of a cup, so that because he cannot say cup, he knows that's what I want. So if you put 2 pictures together and you say cup and a picture of the kitchen, how it looks, then he knows what I need is a cup from the kitchen. So that same method then is now upgraded to whatever tablet or whatever phone you have. And nowadays we have Siri, we have you have who can speak for you. So once that goes then into an app somewhere, and those apps exist, then all my child needs to do is press cup kitchen, and then maybe you've preset I want. So I want a cup from the kitchen. So you have assistive devices, technology helping kids, and for real, he's learnt a lot from YouTube. So he's a typical child nowadays where immediately you get in, he wants your phone.
Yeah.
He would, like he'll go immediately to.
And he'll break your code too.
Yeah.
He's good at it.
Yeah.
Atafungua your code. Tell me something. You said he uttered his first 2 words 2 months ago.
Yes.
What were they?
So his first 2 words, because we had a healthcare scare, was pain, because he was in pain at that moment, and a few minutes later he needed to pee, and so he said pee. But if you've been praying for a very long time for your child to speak, and you've been hoping for it, when they say it, you're not clear. If I did not have other people around me at that time and were looking at him, because we all looked at each other like, is this child speaking? What did he say? So my encouragement to parents, even when they've been waiting for this thing for a very long time, is don't let anybody tell you that your child will never do ABC, because you're the one who knows your child, and you're the one who's working hard with your child, and you're the one who needs
When you were growing up, did you know anyone who was autistic?
No, but in hindsight, I keep on thinking about the primary school I went to, and all these kids who always couldn't get it in class, were always being punished, always seemed to be angry. If you think back, you'll see those kids. But they had no diagnosis, and we didn't have a name for it. And so,
we just called them slow. Or, other not so nice words, right?
Yeah.
We had one in school. I go and umesema kuzunguka madarasa. And like ifika ya saa 4 aone leo ametosheka. Takes off. And we used to envy him. And just be free like that.
Ni kama sisi hapo kwa 96.
Tunamaliza saa 4
tunaenda zetu.
Raburu anaingia hapa na hasira. So I used to look at him and wonder, can I be free like that one day? You know that teacher anakaa mpaka 5. Lakini ameenda. It was a disease.
There was a movie a few decades ago called The Rain Man. You've heard of it?
Yes.
Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise.
Yes.
It's about a man who's autistic, or a brother, 2 brothers. One is autistic and one isn't.
So Rain Man is one of the representations for people with autism. However, because it's a spectrum, people present autism differently. Something that I like is The Good Doctor.
Okay.
Because even though the guy who acts the Good Doctor, it's a series on TV, is he has savant tendencies, so he's very clever, but he also has classic autism features. So you can see the aggression, you can see that he's trying to cope. And they use coping mechanisms where sometimes a child is like flapping their eyes, like next to their ear, to their eyes like this, or like they're spinning constantly. And I know sometimes you've seen adults like click a pen continuously, nervously all the time. So he shows classic autism tendencies, but then he's also a very sharp doctor. And I guess the message that I take out from a series like that is children given the right exposure, the right therapies, the right interventions will basically come into their own, because everybody comes into this earth with a purpose. So the question would be, then what's been the purpose of this child coming into? And I would say that just like having Arthur in my life, it's taught me a lot. It's allowed me to be able to speak in spaces that are otherwise. I mean, look at me. I'm in this studio.
Because of the king.
You know what I'm saying? Speaking to millions.
Yes, that I would otherwise not have been to. And a wonderful thing that also happened is because about 3 years ago, when the family group where I work, so I work for Family Group Foundation. So 3 years ago, we needed to put a course, because the marathon was of age, and we needed to attach a course to it, because if you've been running for 10 years, so what are you running for? So we did this survey, because the marathon runs in Eldoret. We did this survey around Eldoret town, Uasin Gishu County, to see because we fund education in other ways. We do mentorship for kids, we do scholarship payments for kids. We needed to find what's the other thing we could fund through the marathon. So when we went to Eldoret County, Uasin Gishu County, we looked at various institutions that were catering to, say, for example, blind kids, kids with other disorders and disabilities, but there was no particular place that was actually taking care of kids with autism. So you know how you go with a team and you've not really told them that this thing is close to your heart, but you want them to see it. So when we went round, and the Ministry of Education officials actually told us the thing that they wanted was a classroom, a unit for autistic kids. So I was like saying, no, because I heard it from other people. So we found Sosiani Primary School that was willing to work with us. They had space.
And the numbers are there?
And the numbers are there. What happens mostly is the government has something called EAC officers, assessment childhood something officers.
Yeah.
And these people usually have a waiting list of kids that need to be placed in schools, but there are no places to place them. So the EAC officers in Wasingishu County told us they have kids. There are no schools, but they have kids that need to be placed. So we're like, okay, so if we renovate a classroom and equip it, kids will come, we're assured yes. We spoke to the Ministry of Education, they're like, we'll send you teachers. So what happened was, from the proceeds of the family group half marathon, we then renovated the first classroom, and we had, within class opening, like school opening, there were 15 kids in that class. So now they're 32, and we are renovating. We'll open the second classroom in at the beginning of second term, because the kids keep getting, that there are many. Within a short period of time, they're now 32, and it's only because
they're different ages.
And they're different ages, so we need the two classes so that we can separate the younger ones from the.
Is it more male than female, or how is it split?
Usually, there are more boys than girls with autism, but a lot of the time, girls are diagnosed later because one of the diagnosis criteria is social interaction. And in our culture, we're told girls are supposed to be shy, don't be forward. So if your little girl is shy and is not speaking and looks down and seems to be very gentle, she's a nice girl.
Oh, akakatatengeneza kabibi kazuri.
See, now you're like tick tick tick.
Thank you.
So
kumbe una shida.
Exactly. So girls are diagnosed, and then also girls tend to have communication more than boys. So where boys will speak later, if your girl is has autism and they are speaking, you don't pick up on the problem faster, because after all, my kid is speaking. You probably would get concerned if they didn't have speech, but now if your kid is speaking and they're a girl and they're gentle and they're not looking you straight in the eye and they're looking down, you're like, perfect.
Okay.
So they're diagnosed massively.
People want to get in touch with you, Jacqueline. How do they do that?
So on Twitter, I'm at Mathags.
Mathags?
Mathaga, but Mathags, Mathugz. I'm Mathags. But I also, you can get in touch with us by contacting the Family Group Foundation, where I work. So we are on whatever, we are on, what is it? We have a website. I also do several things. So one of the things that I do is I support stuff that has to do with parents trying to, get the word out and get awareness. And one of the things that's happening on the 24th of April is that we have an art event. So we're calling it Art for Autism. And we are trying to raise funds as parents. So this is separate from us. So we're trying to raise funds to support Kitui. So get a classroom for kids in Kitui. And we're using recycled art. So your bottles, your whatever. So we'll turn them either into a decorative art, whatever, or we will make sure that you get your decorative. We make a tool for a kid to learn in class.
Where is this event?
So it's at the National Museum.
April 24th?
April 24th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So it's a Wednesday, but kids are closed, so we're hoping we get a lot of youngsters, because we need to get awareness out if parents are available. But you can donate directly to the classroom as well. The other thing that's happening also in this April Autism Awareness Month is the Pan-African Congress on Autism. So what the Pan-African Congress on Autism is that it's bringing together for the first time ever anybody and everyone who has anything to do with autism in this continent. So we want everybody to come. It's going to be at the Safari Park Hotel from the 25th to 27th of April.
Is this the first ever?
So this is the first ever, and we have people from all of Africa coming. We've got Egypt, we've got Western African countries coming, and we want a conversation between doctors, parents, therapists for the first time, because what we need is something that works for Africa. Everything we get is from the West, but like you mentioned before, there's a mama somewhere in Kibera, Kawangware, in Shad somewhere, who's doing something fantastic with their child. So we need to take that tool and make it Kenya-centric, because it's working. How do we then make it whatever? Then, because we at Family Group Foundation run for autism every year.
What month?
In October. So on the 6th of October, we have our family group half marathon. We're running for autism. We want to build more classes in this nation. So as many sponsors as we can get, if the more money we get, the more we're able to make sure that other counties besides Uasin Gishu get a classroom. So you either run or you can donate directly to the Family Group Foundation, and we'll make sure that goes directly into building a classroom.
Are the counties helpful? Or they could.
We could
use more help.
So we could use more help.
Yeah.
So so we could use more help.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine. I mean, 47 counties.
Yeah, and the thing is that you want to make education accessible. So like to just give you a snippet. On average, you have parents paying something like 150,000 Kenya shillings, and that's basic education. There's probably no therapy being provided. And then add on the therapies, you're probably loading another 60,000 for occupational therapy and another 60 for speech. Then load on, should you want behavior analysis, load on another 10,000 per hour. And your child probably needs. So you're looking at only those able, and you're not even looking at the middle class being able to afford this. You're looking at the very rich being able to get their children over the hurdle.
So the poor forget about it.
Shauriao is sort of like the thing. So by making sure that we have classrooms in public schools, what we're really saying is, because the Ministry of Education has the teacher resources, and they have a budget to fund the classroom resources after you've done the initial setup. What we're saying is, can we do as many classrooms, renovate them, make them autism friendly, make sure that there are desks so that the Ministry of Education can be challenged to then send the teachers that they need. The results from our classroom in Sosiani has been 2 kids integrated into the mainstream, so meaning that they don't need the special units anymore. And we've had,
they're doing okay.
And they're doing okay. So you have kids who came to school, couldn't hold a pen, and suddenly because they had help. And then you have the other thing is, we had one of the children participate in the Special Olympics tryouts that were in Mombasa a few minutes. So you're developing this culture where you're showing there is ability even in this disability.
Correct.
Kids are not.
Finally, what kept you going, Jacqueline? Because a lot of parents would give up and probably have given up. What kept you going?
Can I say on Hot 96, God?
Yes.
Yes, God. Oh my goodness, I'm a born again Christian, and just my family of believers around me. My parents, oh my goodness. My dad would drive when we needed a school in Nairobi and I needed to work. So you know how it is. You're a single mom, no other support. So my dad would drive from where we live all the way to come and then park and wait for my son to finish school, because we needed a school. Now he's in a school that's closer to home, and that's working perfectly for him. And he uses the school bus, which is an essential skill, because by using the school bus, he learns how to use public transport. So eventually he'll be able to get into a matatu and go wherever. So, but the support of my parents, when I needed to travel, my mom would take my son and make sure that he got to school. So just having a very supportive family, having a close-knit family of believers that have supported me, but then also the network of parents that I'm able to rely on and say, I can't afford an ABA therapist, but you went and so on. What did this person tell you we could do? And having that conversation consistently with parents.
Thank God for WhatsApp groups.
Yes.
You know, there is some good that comes out of it.
A lot.
Other than those photos that are sent.
Once in a while.
Listen, Jacqueline, you can contact Mathags. Mathags.
Yes. But if anybody needs a phone number.
You want to give it out?
Yeah, I could. So 0729 404 to 10.
404 to 10.
Yeah.
That's an easy number.
Yeah.
0729 404 210. Jacqueline Mathaga.
Yes.
I'm telling you, you're a brave woman.
Asante.
You're brave, and even braver for telling us this story. Because I know for a fact you have helped 1, 2, 3, 10, 20, 100, 1,000 people out there today. You really have. Because very few people are willing to talk about this.
Yes.
Many more even hide their embarrassment and shame. Yes. But you've given them hope.
Asante. So that's what we're looking for. We're hoping that parents get braver.
April 24th.
April 24th.
National Museum.
Museum. April 25th to 27th, Safari Park. 6th of October, come run with us.
Come run.
Half marathon. You can do it. There's a family run that's 5K. And so you can come 5 kilometers surely. Surely.
Even if we walk it.
Yes.
Yeah, even if you walk it. Please come.
5 Family Group Foundation.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Get in touch with you there, even,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Again, phone number 0729-404-210.
Yes.
Amazing story.
Oh.
I keep saying,
Sure.
everybody has a story to tell. Even King Arthur one day.
He
Yes,
will
he
speak
will
his story.
He'll talk so much you'll get sick and tired.
I'm looking forward to the day.
Anyamaze.
Unasema sana.
I'm looking forward to that day.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline.
Yes.
God bless you.
Thank you for having
Appreciate
me.
it. This is what we call
King Arthur's story.
Thank you so much.
a story.
Every day, Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on Hot 96.